Missed the mark. We got to have these things centered, you know. Make everything straight for the video, look good. There we go. Okay. Does it look straight? I'm Rob, this is Dashboard. And in this video, I'm going to talk about applying a finish to your benchtop. Now, this is not for those who are experienced in finishing. This is really for the first timer. We do have a lot of customers who are new to the craft. And I just want to go over a simple way to apply a finish to your top that will keep it looking clean, protected from spills, and help you get the longest life from it that you can. The whole idea with the dashboard system is that you're never cutting or abusing the benchtop with a saw or other tools. So it can last a really long time. I virtually never change tops because I do take care of them. So this is just a simple way in 2 coats that you can keep it looking nice. Okay, so the basics of what we're going to do. I am going to apply this finish with a 6-inch hot dog roller. This is a better brand of cover. It is a cloth type or a woven woolly type material. Do not use a foam roller. That will just make endless bubbles and complicate the process. Also, don't buy a really cheap one because in my experience, they're sometimes not straight. So you're trying to get a nice smooth rolling action and the thing's bumping around all over the place. So splurge a little on the roller cover and the frame. So you can also use a foam brush, but it takes a long time and it increases the likelihood that finish is going to drip into the holes to an excess. So I've done lots of tops with foam brushes, but if you value your time and you can do it with the roller, I recommend that. I've got my little paint pan here. I have a little tape. I'm going to just cover the cut strip just for its own appearance. Doesn't really matter if it gets finish on it because it's sort of a disposable thing. Of course, it's going to last for a long time by itself. Now, choice of finish. I like this stuff. This is from a company called Target Coatings. They're only available online except for a few outlets, I think in the Northeast. But use whatever you're comfortable with. The results should be the same. I only use waterborne or water-based coatings. Makes it easy on me. Doesn't threaten to explode. Dries really fast. And has always worked well for me. I've been using water-based finishes since the early 90s. And I never wanted to use an oil-based finish on anything, frankly. So that's the basics. Also, don't worry about the edges. There's not enough exposed material here to bother trying to mincing around there. Sealing edge. Sealing edge grain, so to speak, on MDF is kind of a losing battle anyway, so don't waste your time. And let's get started. Now we're all set. So here's my roller. I got my finish in the paint pan. Just make sure it's all coated and it has absorbed a good amount. You want to focus on being deliberate but gentle. Your enemy is bubbles. So all the movements you make should be pretty slow because the faster you go, the more bubbles you get. The less smooth of a surface you will have as a result. So I'm ready to start. So I am just going to put very little pressure. You can see I'm hardly doing anything here. And I'm just going to start rolling. And it's okay if I don't get everything in the first pass. Come back and do it again. So like I said, deliberate and careful. I'm putting almost no pressure on this, just letting the weight of the tool and the liquid inside it distribute itself across the surface. If you push too hard, number one, you will get the bubbles. Number two, you'll be more likely to have stuff draining into the holes, and we're trying to avoid that. Because if we don't have to ream them out later, that just saves you work. So again, slowly, just make sure that you see everything getting covered. The nice thing about using a roller is that you can do a pretty thick coat pretty quickly. I've never found 2 coats to be insufficient for a good work surface. So you will have a great result. Sometimes if you feel like you've got too much on the roller, you might just bleed a little off by hitting the places between the holes first. See, like I've got some going in this hole and some going here. I'll just take that off, clean that out before it gets to be too much of a difficult spot there for dealing with later. Of course, you always want to overlap a little bit between areas. Again, very little pressure. So as this stuff dries, it will tighten up, and most of this topography you see on the reflection here, some of which is bubbles, some of which is not, will be going away as it sets up. And then we'll be ready for the next step. All right, now we have our first coat all set. The important thing to do now is don't put a fan on it. Don't use a hairdryer on it. Just walk away. Wait till it's dry to the touch. Walk away. Now, I have put the roller and pan together inside a plastic garbage bag and folded it under itself. That's an easy way to just keep that thing usable without needing to sort of rinse it all out in between and avoiding anything drying out when you didn't want it to dry out. So that's always worked for me. I recommend it. So now let's come back when this is dry. All right, here I am in the future. Tabletop's nice and dry and cured up. I have my sander here with 220 disc. I wouldn't recommend starting with anything rougher than a 180. We'll give this a quick going over, vacuum that off, and be ready for the second coat. I've also done the Outriggers, so I'm going to get them as well. All right, there we have one coat of finish applied, sanded, vacuumed, and wiped off with a rag. While you were sanding, you were also conscious of the light coming onto the surface and you were looking at the reflection. You sanded it enough to get all the high spots down so you have a uniform, flat surface. And you might be thinking at this point, well, hey, it already kind of feels like porcelain. Why should I bother doing more? This is the foundational coat for all future work. So having a second one is just going to build you a better base. And then if you need to refinish it later, you can probably get away with just doing one additional coat. But stick with me here, do 2 coats. You won't regret it. Okay, so second coat is on. You've just seen the camera running across the surface. You can see that it's pretty stipply. There were bubbles, I couldn't avoid it. You might think, this is bad, but don't worry, because we have 2 steps to go, and the result is gonna be amazing. So I have 220 in the sander again. I am gonna go over the whole surface. Now, as I'm doing this, the key thing to do is, I've got the lights here. Whatever light source you have, just be looking at the surface as you're going over and sanding it. You will see the topography start to flatten, and until it's all a dull area, no shiny spots. That's what you want to do. I'm not pressing hard here, just letting the machine do its work. Because I'm not trying to remove all that finish, I'm just trying to take off the high spots. So let's do that, and then we'll get to the final step. Two coats of finish, nice and thick. We've sanded this flat, so it's really, really smooth and nice and ready for use if you want to. But some of you might want to take it a step further. I like to do this. I have a red Scotch-Brite pad. I've cut a circle out of it. So it fits the pad on my sander. So there's no sandpaper on here, just the sort of grippy surface of the sander itself. it won't really grab it, but it can push it around. So I'll just press this on here, run the sander, just go over the whole thing once, really is all it takes. And you'll find that it basically polishes it to be really, really smooth. So it's an absolutely flat, non-reflective surface that is also glassy smooth. And the thing about non-reflective surface, like, I want to make sure that my bench doesn't have distracting reflections on it. Maybe you're in the garage and the sun is coming in at a low angle. If it reflects off of that while you're trying to work, it's very distracting. Or just any other time, depending on where the lights are, I find reflections distracting. So this will make an absolutely uniform, flat sheen that I think you'll really like. And it's really, really smooth. So from time to time, you may need to reposition the pad on the sander just because, like I said, it doesn't really grab it. So it can squirm out if you're not careful. Helps to have very even pressure on the machine while you're going. So the finish is finished. Now there's one last thing to consider, which is in the process of rolling it on, you may have had a little bit of it drip into some of the holes. I always try to go around and just see it as it happens and wipe my finger in there to get out a bigger drop. But it doesn't really take much sometimes to make the hole swell a little bit and be a bit too tight on the things you might want to put into the holes, such as one of our bench dogs. So what I'll usually do after this is just go around with, I like the 1-inch bench dogs because it's taller and easier to grab. Just go around and check to see which holes are good and which holes are a little snug. So these two are good, this one and this one are a little snug. So the simplest way to handle that, and I think the best way to do it to avoid making the hole too big, is get yourself one of these, which is a 20mm hand reamer, commonly available on Amazon. I'll put a link, like $18, but very useful. And I like to use the hand reamer because rather than those that are drill mounted, I can only do a little bit and not risk doing too much work and making the hole oversized. So just put it in until it starts to bite. And really, normally, maybe one turn is all you're going to need to get back to where that dog goes in and fits just right. And it'll be the same thing for, when you're using our expand dogs on parallel guides and so forth, that you might want to make those a little bit bigger after the swelling so you can put the dogs in very easily. So that's all you need to do. I'll just go around like this with one of the dogs and the reamer in my other hand and just check. And there's another one. So this will take you a few minutes to get through the table and the outriggers, but you're only doing this once. So it goes pretty quick and you get a real good feel for it. And it's just that simple. So this is how I recommend finishing your dashboard and outriggers. Again, this video is primarily directed at those who might not have as much experience as some of the seasoned veterans out there. Obviously, if I had my druthers, I would spray this because it's easier, quicker. But an advantage of rolling it on is you can get really thick coats. Same with brushing, really, but there's more time involved and more risk of getting drips in the holes in a much bigger way than you would with a roller. So that's my recommendation for putting finish on your dashboard top. Thanks for watching.